Soul Grows in Israel, a podcast where we ask the questions about ancient Jewish wisdom, modern life, and everything in between. So let's ask, let's have fun, and let's grow together. Hi guys again, and welcome to another episode of A Soul Grows in Israel, where I again have my repeat co-host, favorite guest, Yehoshua Mosband. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it. I'm here to promote something, and that's why I do these rounds. I come onto your show so I can promote my own interests. What are those interests, you may ask? Primarily, people, grown men and women should learn Nach. They should learn Navi. It's not taught to men from the world that I come from, and there are a lot of incredibly valuable lessons to learn. And
all right, I think we just blasted off. You just went into an agenda. I like it.
You were busy over there, so I
was checking the mics. So about a minute ago, before I was charming and smiley, I was losing my mind just trying to set this place up like it's a home studio. And I think it's time to maybe kick it up a notch and maybe get some help up in here. But I appreciate your patience.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I see how hard you work at it. It's pretty. I mean, I think that every time that I'm on it, there are additional challenges arise. So the state then is trying to get involved and trying to prevent people from hearing.
There's so much potential, right? It's so holy. Yes.
It's banal.
Okay. Well, I'm about to take a small trip and bring our kids to sleepaway camp and do the whole shopping route. And I really wanted to have a conversation at home before I sort of like get on that treadmill of summer running airports, airplanes, and all that stuff. And you're back and you had quite a time. And while you were away, we had quite the time of, just old news like war, Iran.
And you say I had quite the time.
Surgery.
I flew with our son to get a surgery in the United States, which he needed. Thank God everything's okay. And Esther was back in Israel, experiencing what's called the 12-day war at this stage.
Is that what they named it? The 12-day war? I thought it was like Zion, Lion, Iron.
All right. No, Kalavi Yakum. But then the world kind of is trying to call it the 12-day war. So basically you were under ballistic missile attack for approximately 10 days, not 11 days. And I was in the United States just being nervous and
it was strangely, I think it was much harder on you than it was on us because when it's someone that you love, you feel even more helpless. And when you guys are just going through it, I mean, thank God we were so spared and so fortunate. I've said that so many times on this podcast. But when you're only worrying about yourself and the kids near you, I think it's easier than you being an ocean away.
Right. It's like, a captain of a sailboat in a storm is focused on the sailboat and focused on their passengers and on the cargo, and is not really just kind of like navigating their way through the waters and the calm times and then the crazy times. But from a distance, imagine watching someone on a sailboat going through a storm, and it's your precious cargo and your loved ones. So it was a challenge for sure.
It was definitely a challenge for you. But when you say that, it's funny because I didn't feel that way watching our son be with you in surgery. I didn't feel like extra worried. And I think that's because I really trust you and I guess the hospital and the surgeon and obviously Hashem. I felt very calm knowing that you were on the scene to take care of our son. If it was reversed, you might have reason to be a bit more concerned because I'm not good at that stuff.
Well, so thank you very much. But I think like it's very different like when your son is at a hospital having a surgery which was planned, and there's healthcare professionals, and there's obviously everything, there's a divine fundamental thing happening, so God controls the outcomes and you do your best. But I think like there were some good statistics there. This was a unprecedented war, and unfortunately ballistic missiles that were fired by Iran, they fired hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, but tens of them made their way in and people died. So there was an element of chaos and lack of control and no statistics, which was very, from a distance, was very concerning. And some of my friends and some of my friends' wives, I think, had a harder time navigating it than you did. I would say that. Like, I think, at least the way you're describing it, unless some PTSD is going to come out a bit later.
I really hope not.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, a lot of people afterwards, we had like this whole meditation thing with a group of women. And and they literally were describing the after effects, like after an earthquake almost. And they said that all of a sudden they were feeling really down or fatigued. And when we got to the bottom of it, it was the aftermath of holding it together. When the adrenaline goes away, what takes its place? And usually it's that natural reaction to let go, and then you can actually feel things after. So that makes a lot of sense. If you had to rate, though, on a scale from 1 to 10, both scenarios, which were you, when you were in it, more concerned? Like when our son was going into surgery, or just sort of reading the news about the war?
So that's a good question. So to do that, I would have to like analyze the experience of the surgery itself. And I would say that when they were rolling him in, I had like a huge surge of empathy for him and like an overwhelming feeling of love that just you could just watch them roll him in. And of course, like a year and a half ago, he had this fall, and so he's been through the ringer a bit on it, and so now hopefully it was resolved. So there was that, which was uncomfortable because it was unexpected and also quite overwhelming, but retrospectively, it was a natural, healthy feeling. And then when the surgery took quite a bit longer because there was a piece of hardware they were trying to take out and they wanted to do it as gently as possible, they take their time, which is why I did this.
It's like, I can't find the screwdriver. I was like,
No, it wasn't the screwdriver. Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but
yeah.
there's some of but when it was taking quite a bit longer and I hadn't heard from his team at one point in time, his one of the people that were in the operating room, he told them to go send a WhatsApp to me in essence that I would know that things were okay. There was a period of time of like I would say like an hour and a half where I was pretty miserable because I was concerned there was either a negative outcome or they were in the middle of trying to fight back a negative outcome, and I was very concerned and a bit negative and a bit let's say woeful. So that would be the experience of the surgery. And after that, it was just pretty good. When I thought about you guys here in Israel, every time there was a siren in Renana, it was just scary for me, right? Because I was not going down into the bunker. I wasn't distracting the kids. I wasn't, and a lot of them happened at night, so the kids were sleeping. So you were able to like slip into the bunker, and the kids were able to slip in, and 10 minutes you go out and maybe go back in and stay there for hours on end. But there was, which is very uncomfortable and scary. It didn't translate into imminent fear for you, it sounds like, or anxiety. And I spoke to the kids, and they didn't have that either. But I was imminently scared because the aside from having a direct missile impact, which did happen, there were also the shock waves. If a missile would fall down the block, it would mow down the houses. In essence, there was quite a bit of damage that happened in Israel. That not all of it is being exposed. There were, square blocks that were decimated, basically, without people dying. So if
If
you
you would
could,
have been
yeah,
here instead of being in the States, would
yeah.
you have been less concerned?
Yes.
Okay, would you have been more nervous than me?
No, because my knee-jerk reaction when things are imminently dangerous is to try to do something useful. So
Yeah.
I would have had a coping mechanism. I don't know how successful I would have been for 11 days of it, like you guys had. I might have gotten worn down and ended up in a fearful state. I don't know. I've never been through that. But there was a period of time towards the end of the war when missiles were falling and people were dying. The explosive power of these ballistic missiles is very different from the rockets that the Hamas
I
and
don't know
Hezbollah.
enough. I think that's my
Yeah,
secret
it's
sauce.
very, yeah.
The more I read and the more I analyze, the more it starts. First of all, you end up on the state of maybe like Teva and analytics, which is very helpful. But for me, I could see how that would increase my anxiety the more I know. And I just feel like it's it's so much healthier for me specifically as a person to sort of like let it be very vague, go down, follow instructions, and obviously what's meant to be will be.
No, I definitely get that. There's like always a double-edged sword with a knowledge of something. Like they say, ignorance is bliss, or ignorance is or knowledge is power. So,
Because
uh,
sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. For
well,
me, there's like a limit.
kind of always both the same, and it depends which angle
Yeah.
you're experiencing it from.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because afterwards, everyone came home. It was such a nice like homecoming. And when I first saw you guys and I had that initial hug, that's kind of when I felt how much I missed you.
Mm,
And before that, because it was some time, I
yes.
was very much in go mode, like you said, like a coping mechanism of keeping everyone calm, business as usual, and
Hmm.
try not to feel things. And I wonder, and it sort of made me think when in my life I've used similar coping mechanisms. Just don't feel things and you need to survive. And when in life it's safe to start feeling things again. So it kind of brought me to a different place of in a weird way to heal in this tiny way. Because I do think in life you're tapped on the shoulder multiple times in different versions trying to work on the same things.
Right. It's like different experiences kind of bring like a context. Like suddenly you realize that you're dealing things from like a satellite perspective, and then like from that satellite view, you view things from your future or your past or your present from that exact angle, which you never would have been unless there was some kind of experience that put you in that place.
I like that a satellite angle. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like almost this mirror, like a beaming of something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that makes
you
sense.
were like in control, like like someone in a control tower trying to manage your life, creating distance to accomplish and to whatever survive. Although, okay, I don't want to exaggerate survive because thank God there were not hundreds of people that got killed. There were, you know, a couple, handfuls, which is terrible. But yeah, when you end up in that place, you start like maybe if you're present, I guess, seeing other things. So these experiences are interesting. They're interesting. At the end of the day, there were series and series of miracles that unfolded, and decades of preparation that like milded with a bit of help from heaven, and it was a very
Oh,
successful
a whole
outcome.
lot. Oh my God. I did
Yeah,
feel that. I did feel like the miracles for sure. That was
yeah.
amazing.
I think that the miraculous component of this is will just take potentially 20 years for books to be written about it in a way that really people can understand how much went right.
Well, you started off by saying how important it is for people to learn Navi and Nach.
Uh,
And I always like to imagine if a sefer could be written for the past 80 years or 90 years of just the miracles and the tragedies that we've gone through as a people. It's so accelerated, and I think it would be a mind-blowing sefer.
I agree, but I wouldn't minimize the experience. The like, I only recently started learning Nach, and I only started learning Sefer Shmuel, and I'm learning it painfully slowly because the people that I'm learning it with have limited availability, and to some extent, no, I have more availability, I would say. Of course, like there's a lot that's being unsaid in Shmuel Aleph, which is what I'm learning now, but I think a lot happened in the if you just take 80 years from the time where Shmuel gets involved to the time where is made king secretly. I think that's less than 80 years.
Oh, I'm not
Would you agree?
minimizing our history. I actually
Yeah,
think there was a lull, maybe
yeah,
way after the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, like a lull of things being very, very repetitive. Like, oh, we left this shtetl, this pogrom happened, we
yeah.
migrated to this place in Europe, from Russia to Poland to Ukraine. But this is so different. This is something that really does hark back to what you're learning, and that's why I would like
Right.
to include it in in the books.
Absolutely. Rav Kook talks about that in his the Sefer Orot, but he talks about a process. So it's called Galus, but there's a process happening on a metaphysical level at the source of everything. There's like there's like a bubbling spring, and there was a process when the Beis Hamikdash needed to be destroyed, where there's an accumulation of imagine like the water became very very sullied,
Mm.
and that lull is which what you're basically in essence calling Galus, which we're still in the process of going through it, but there's this process of cleaning and settling of sediments. And then Rav Kook says that Zionism and the experience that we're going through now with Eretz Yisrael is the process of um, the country, the people, and God experiencing the clean and still waters. There's still work to be done, but
The people, the
obviously,
country,
the
and
people,
God.
yeah,
That's
the
the
people, country, and
trifecta
God. It's
when it's
right.
plugged in, which means the people, the country, and God, if I could just maybe interpret it in my head and you'll tell me if I'm off here. The people, which would be the nation of Israel, right? The land, which is the land we were Zoche to live in, which is Eretz Yisrael. And God would be not only having a relationship with Hashem, I think, but understanding and trying to be as loyal as we can to the Torah and to each other, to ourselves.
Right. I think there's right, like being loyal to the Torah. I think there was a very, very high level of loyalty to the Torah in the last 2000 years. I would say like, the way at least the way I understand it is there's also just like different dynamics of the Torah being, having many different unlimited angles to it. But
Yeah, imagine you have the Babylonian Talmud and the Yerushalmi Talmud. They aren't only different, but from what I understand, hashkafically, they're different. I think that the Torah to Eretz Yisrael is always going to be different. I do believe that compared to, and I'm not minimizing Chas v'Chalila Torah from Bavel or Poland
Yeah.
or New York. It's just we know it's kind of different here. And if you've experienced it, you guys, you know what I mean.
It has a different place. It had a different it was necessary at the time, not only necessary, but um brilliant at the time, and it served its purpose in a way that's miraculous, right? So 2000 years of getting displaced and persecuted, and having then periods of peace, and then getting displaced, which is very jarring, but still to hold on and to extrapolate and to beautify. So that was really good. And Rev Cook talks about a different period of time that he believed is happening, and that's no, it definitely rings true to me as I see it through my life.
Yeah, buckle up.
But
It's a fun time to be alive. And
yeah,
again, we're
big
very, very
world, big
fortunate.
world, yeah.
Yeah, we are. Um, as I plan to travel to the States, did you notice any differences in New York while you were there recently?
I think it was while I was there was a politician, there were some elections or primaries for the mayoral race in New York, and um, a communist, a young, very charismatic man who espouses quite communist views from an economic perspective, and also some very anarchical, I mean, fundamentally anarchical, but also, I mean, tertiary anti-Semitic, anti-Israel things going on.
What does tertiary mean?
Tertiary, like in other words, on a third level, like it's like not the primary thing, but like that's not his primary thing. Isn't
It's like a side dish. Like I hate Jews on the side, on the
not
DL.
really right. I would say that he never said that, but
No one says it,
I
right?
don't even know that he thinks that. To be honest with you, I think that in his mind it's more complex and it hasn't been worked through. But let's just put that aside. Like people in America are concerned, and people in New York are concerned because he won this election. It was a bit unexpected initially, but then as the election became closer, he won the election against a very established politician who was removed from the governorship of New York because there was a scandal. And also he has like a very famous family name. And this guy went, so the people in New York, at least the Jews that I interacted with, concerned um, about what that means for them. But things seem to be going on business as usual, and it's a nice existence over there, I
Yeah. So
think.
you didn't notice a clear difference
What I mean,
on the street, like
on the
living
street,
there.
I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Times
Hospital.
Square area. It's just a bubble of tourism and freneticism. It was the summer in New York during vacation time, so it was just imagine, like it's like, just imagine that. Go to YouTube and see it. So I didn't really experience a big difference from, let's say, this past summer to this year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
except for this politician who was elected, who won the primary, and that it represents something, but it's unclear what it represents. But it definitely represents something: shifting dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
shifting demographics, shifting worldviews, and again, the continued assemblage of God's puzzles, right? Like he's like, okay, now it's time for that piece, and now it's time for that piece, or however you want to view it, or the gear work moving,
You know that
or the
account that I follow on Instagram where it's this Russian daughter, Israeli, talking to her Russian mom, and she puts the
oh yeah.
conversations on YouTube. And she goes, Mom, I need advice for a honeymoon. And her mom goes, I have the best idea. Go to Brussels in Belgium. And she's
Mhm.
like, Brussels? I was thinking about New York. And she goes, Nope, it's not the time to go to New York. A very handsome Khatich Madmani Sonei Israel, like someone who hates Israel, but he's very charismatic,
He
is
is
there now. It's not a good
exactly.
idea. And in the comment sections, they're like, Brussels, that's not so fun for Jews.
I get that, but no, I think she's right. I think that it's more volatile now in New York. This Mamdani guy is a complex figure. Um, and it's also like just be God centric, not like, oh God, but more like there's some kind of story unfolding, like this whole intifada thing, globalized intifada, and there are a lot of pieces at play.
That doesn't change the effect, though, of when you light a small fire. Maybe it started during
I
COVID.
agree.
I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
But I
There's
think
something
that
happening there.
the Jewish people who do feel unrest or unease, there's a reason for it. They're not imagining it. History is too fresh of what just recently happened to us. When I say recently, yeah, I might be going back to the 1940s, but look, I'm not one to say, guys, leave, it's dangerous, it's over. But I do think the seeds are being planted for it to be over one day, and I don't know when that day is.
I don't know. I'll say this: you can't eliminate the possibility of things going sideways quickly. It doesn't. America is not set up that way.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
It's
quickly.
it's not quickly, and also it's not necessarily going to happen. We're hopeful that it doesn't happen and things evolve in a way for the world and for
Yeah, it's
like
nice to be hopeful for sure.
why not?
Because you know why not? I don't like to make people uncomfortable. And since I'm a kid, I've been hearing people like have doomsday predictions and everything was chill, kind of, where I grew up, which was New York specifically. On the other hand, I also know that, as I always say, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. As a nation, we've never been able to overstay our welcome. The question is, when is the welcome expired? If you think America will always be a safe haven for Jews, that I would disagree with. When does it end? That I have no, look, 300 years, 20 years, I don't know. But when you do see the things that you're seeing now, which is a shameless anti-Semitism on the streets, it's a bit alarming.
Right. So I think that it should be taken in context.
Yeah.
In other words, it's like objects in rearview mirror may appear closer than they are. Like in other words,
Yeah.
so that clearly there's stuff happening. There are sentiments out there that are um could be could accumulate to a very problematic situation for all different kinds of people in the United States, but definitely for Jews. And there's this phrase, Ashrei Adam Mefached Tamid. So
Wow.
that doesn't mean to sit around and be fearful constantly. It means to have a sense of
Alertness.
alertness, historical context, that things can happen, and also to prepare. So what does that mean? That doesn't necessarily mean running away and coming to Israel if that's not something that if you're concerned it'll destroy your family, but it could mean other things, such as owning Israeli stocks, opening up an Israeli bank account.
Yeah.
The United States government is not our enemy. It's not the Jews' enemy. It's not Israel's enemy. Those are fallacies, at least for now, and we have to be hopeful that they stay that way. Like,
Yeah. Don't be
you know,
extreme. Yeah, I
don't be
agree.
extreme and don't be negative because it's not necessary for there to be another Holocaust for there to be the Messiah,
Fair
right?
enough.
And for the world to be like tikkun, like it doesn't for the world to go into a state of like completeness. There's
So can
nothing,
I
no reason.
segue? I love that you just said that. I think that's so much value in what you just said. First of all, things don't have to end in a disaster. They can end
We
very
already have those,
pleasantly.
yeah.
Yeah. And I want to segue into negativity because I shared this with you this morning, but it's so obvious to everyone, not obvious to me, but I realize when anything negative comes out of my mouth, it's just I feel the toxicity sort of surround me. And sometimes the negativity that I'm expressing sounds rationalized or even holy. So I've noticed in my life that when I do have sort of this like almost self-righteous negativity about specific topics, that's literally my nisayon right now. It might not be gossip. Okay. Hopefully, I really hope I'm over that. Please don't test me, Hashem. But it's almost this negativity where it's like, why do people from here think that way? And how could, you know, it's not healthy for me or for the people listening or anyone around me. I'd like to work on that.
Yeah. Well, there's this like terminology, a Hebrew word called letzanut, clowniness or overly light-spiritedness, which can cause destruction. But very frequently, it's translated to derision,
Mm.
and that's really, I mean, obviously, if you're being like very clowny about something that's holy, you're derisive about it because there's all different kinds of sociological and psychological reasons why people do that.
That's kind of your thing. My thing is
Mhm.
almost like I'm able to clean it up and make it so squeaky that even the people around me won't realize how toxic it is. You know?
No, I don't even.
Like, okay, so for example, I might be like, teenagers from New York, etc., but teenagers from Israel. So what I just did was I was toxic, but at the same time, I was kind of putting good values onto what I was praising. And then you sort of missed my toxicity, which is kind of they say it's like what is it? Like going to the mikveh holding a mouse? Is that the
Yeah,
mashal?
something like that. Like, yeah, there is that terminology. Look, if you want to figure something out for yourself, like
Yeah.
you can put a bunch of things next to each other and then subject it to a set of values which you hold to be true. Like it's hard, but like it can come from a place of love. And so someone that's in a place of love, like when you're parenting, when you're in a place of anger, it's different. But like tolerance and patience and um, yeah, even being well fed, right? Like, right, that helps. But even
Yeah, it
being
does.
well fed and whatever, all these things. But
It makes you more
I
balanced.
have a hard. I definitely have a hard time with that stuff. So I could sympathize with what you're saying. And obviously, we discuss it all the time, and we're constantly checking ourselves against each other and with each other. But Yeah, it's hard. It's sometimes very difficult, and sometimes you'll just get sideswiped by a statement which, you view as 100% wrong and potentially bad. That definitely can elicit a reaction to me. It happened to me yesterday. I actually hung up a phone call in the middle of the conversation because the statement that was coming that I received was so condemning so many things in such a broad sword stroke, just like was so judgmental.
You
And
guys were in the car, all of a sudden I hear like this like loud voice and then click, silence. I'm like, "Do you just hang up?" He's
I
like,
hung up and I went on airplane mode
yeah.
because I needed to clear my head because the person was going to call back and I needed to clear my head. I had to figure out, and I just couldn't respond. And also there was no purpose in responding because I was speaking with someone who is a very good person, but has a very closely held set of values, which were um, taught to him by someone who he values and has had a very positive experience in his life. So what am I going to do there? Like I just hung up. I probably could have like let him finish the sentence and finish the conversation.
No, I think you
I
did the
couldn't
right
do it.
thing.
I was just like it was a knee-jerk reaction. I just hung up and that was it.
Let me ask you this then. When, and this is something that I struggle with, that's why I'm asking you, when should we share our views and when is it better not to?
I don't know, I think there's like certain things like you only share tochacha if it can have an effect. So if you know it can't have an effect, then you don't share tochacha. But if it can, then you're supposed to go out of your way to try and do it. But obviously, it has to be done artfully, and there is a trade-off. And you also have to take your own personality into account.
So
Like
you
you
see it
can't
as
make a
tochacha, you see it as a musar or a correcting of, instead of just sharing a different view, maybe.
well, if you're sharing a different view, that's the same thing. Like, what view is it? It's one that like you think is right or you hold
Yeah.
to be true. So it's the same idea. And with
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean
that
like
person,
I would maybe say like, wait, I disagree with you. Can I give you my perspective on it? Is that a tochacha? To have a machloket almost, just have a disagreement?
in this case, it was an academic point. I know people that are way older, more mature, and wise, practically wise, who
Think the
espouse the
same
same
thing.
views, and that's it. Like, there's a purpose for it in the world. It's like some kind of like triangular lever that's holding up something else that's important, but is nonsense.
So I think that
Yeah.
there's like a humility maybe on your end saying these are all valid opinions, but they crush mine or
They're
they
not valid opinions. They're, let's say, the opinions that are incorrect, um,
important for
that are important for something which is outside of. I just don't have the context. I don't see it. And even if I would, unless I felt like I can describe like that context to the person I'm speaking to, and again, if I don't have the patience or I'm not well fed or I just don't want to, because
it's a
I don't
different
have the
thing.
patience, and because I
Yeah.
can't come home at that stage, I'll be short with myself or with the kids or with you or with my business partner or with the person. What's the point? Like, that's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit lazy what I'm saying, but potentially I'm okay with it. I'm just okay with that person having his view and me hanging up. I am. I don't know. I don't know. That opinion was. It's like a well accepted opinion. It's not like millions of people have that opinion.
Popularity does nothing. You know, more this is great.
Obviously.
My friend's husband had a whole conversation with ChatGPT, and he said, you know, are you programmed to be positive and reinforcing? And
Mm,
ChatGPT said, yes, I am actually. Great
mm,
question, you know.
mm.
And then he said, well, you're getting your opinions based on how many people or how much input you have about one specific subject, correct? And ChatGPT said, yeah, that's correct. So then this guy said, well, let me ask you a question. If you have 2 billion people being anti-Israel and inputting that, and you have, you know, maybe 3 million people saying they're pro-Israel, wouldn't your output be anti-Israel? And he said, yes, we're working on that. That's a really good point. So it's exactly what you're saying, that the more popular opinion is, it's just easier to grasp onto, but it doesn't mean it's truth. So the popular opinion never really moves me.
In this case, right. First of all, I think that's a good value. Let me reinforce it.
Why, thank you,
Good,
ChatGPT.
but it's in many cases not about popularity. There's also other, again, psychological and sociological uh things happening, that it's not just popularity. It's popular for a reason. Things are popular for a reason.
Oh, I'm not
Really
even talking about
important.
the specific
Yeah.
topic. I'll tell you, because I'm a teacher or I found myself in that role often, Very often people will say, "What do you think of
Mm.
this?" And when the second they say, "What do you think of this?" I have an opening to do something. But if someone's not asking, then they won't buy what I'm selling. And sometimes I learn that the hard way, where I'm also expressing my opinion, and it's not really changing the dynamic of the conversation. In fact, it might just be annoying people.
Or making people space out. I think that's
No one spaces out when I talk.
well, I think teachers, yeah. I mean, if you have like a lesson prepared and you're passionate about the lesson, you're gonna say what's on your mind.
Very often, though, you go off script, and that's the
I
things
think
that stay
that's
with them.
kind of the best way to be. Like, you have to be flexible, right? You can afford to be flexible.
I'm not saying when I'm in the classroom, I'm saying that it overflows into
Oh,
life.
so like,
So if I am serving someone, I don't know, steak that I just cooked and they're saying something really wrong, I forget I'm not in teaching mode now. I am in hostess mode. Shut your mouth. But I can't. It's like about Israel, it's about Jewish people. And you realize what you're selling, no one's a customer right there. And it just sort of frustrated
right,
everyone.
right. So yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. Maybe you can redirect that into learning more about their opinions. So, like I said, that okay, there's this triangle wedge that is like buttressing something very important. Like if you can investigate what their opinion is a bit more and try to like imagine what it may be holding up that's valuable, you have to try to imagine that it's happening out of time and place. So there is room for, is it possible that it is room for that and to this to coexist, plus there to be a sikhsuk about it?
Yeah. I'm okay with the present reality.
Right. So that's what I mean. I feel like if I can get angry about it, I think that's natural. And then for me to be able to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
4D,
What
and
does
then
4D
be
mean?
angry.
Sorry.
4D is out of time and place.
Okay. Got it.
So there's something that's happening
Got
that
it.
seems in contra to each
Yeah.
other, but it's happening in
Oh,
a
yeah.
different a different time and
That's the way
place,
I'm
and it's
approaching it.
necessary.
I really do think that this bird's eye view of it. That's why it's so interesting to me and not frustrating. I'm only frustrated by it when I'm at a lower place. But when I can analyze it like this, I'm not angry at all. It's all bird's eye view.
Like in the last 100 years or 120 years, the physicists on planet Earth have discovered all different kinds of dynamics about space-time, which I don't understand because I'm not a physicist and I don't know math. But I have watched movies and documentaries on
That
YouTube.
counts.
And it does exist. They know that these things
Yeah,
exist. So we know that time behaves differently
that's
as
my
it's
jam.
stretching.
Trust me, I know.
It's your jam, but because like so that because we know that exists and because we can accept the fact that it exists here as well, so therefore it's possible for things that we can't see and we can't feel necessarily. So it's easy to take like history and people's experiences and get angry about it and then zoom back out and like understand like your our place in in the Bria and although it's like the lonely man of faith vibe, right? Like
Yeah, I
our
feel that.
beginning and end are seem to be coming in this
Hmm.
ginormous,
Yeah.
overexpanding blob.
When I imagine our small number, and then I'm on social media and it's an echo chamber where it's only like sort of pro-Israel or gotcha moments for anti-Semites on my feed. And I think about what a tiny number we are. And then I think about all the things that I'm not watching, the other echo chambers, which is a huge number of anti-Israel,
Right.
anti-Jewish stuff. And I start to feel a bit deflated. Like, how could we
Good.
ever go against that big force? We're so tiny. And that's when I zoom out
Yeah.
and I feel
Mm.
that's what I felt like in the bomb shelter is like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's a complete release. You call it the Wu Wei. Tell me about that.
The what? Oh, Wu Wei.
Wu
It's
Wei.
so interesting because you mentioned that, and this friend of mine that sent me the original video of this guy called what's his name?
Andrew Watts.
Yeah, Andrew Watts.
Alan Watts.
Al Watts, very interesting guy. For all the people that are Orthodox, maybe don't watch it. Is that copy courses? Yeah, I don't really remember exactly the Wu Wei vibe, but generally speaking, yeah, Wu Wei is pretty cool. What's Wu Wei again?
So I think it was radical acceptance was part of it. And that radical acceptance in Hebrew, lishtachrer, is to release or surrender, which is definitely something that has been on my mind for many, many years now. On the flip side, if you release and surrender too much, I've noticed you become a bit non-emotional and non-reactive, and that's also not great for me.
Yeah, here, listen to it. has the power to create changes in reality so profound they defy imagination, simple in concept, yet challenging to embrace. Alan Watts drew from Taoist philosophy, introducing the idea of Wu Wei, which means effortless action. It's not about doing nothing, it's about aligning with the natural flow of life. Imagine a river. Instead of swimming against the current, you flow with it. By practicing Wu Wei, we discover that nature is communicating with us in this very moment. From this perspective, we gain a clearer image of reality, allowing us to respond in harmony with the natural flow of life, not against it. The universe functions best when we stop resisting it and recognize that we are intrinsically a part of it. So this the concept of Wu Wei in Judaism is amuna and bitachon, but it's attached to very like lots of other things. It's not so nihilistic. So Alan Watts drunk himself to death.
Yes, emunah bitachon is much more nuanced. It's much harder because radical acceptance or release or surrender is radical. And Judaism never goes the extreme version. It's always the kav ha'emtza'i in the middle. And I found myself going that way. I did. When we talked about in the beginning of this podcast about survival, about me going through the war and not feeling things or going through my childhood and walling them off, that was in a way me doing that. Like I accept whatever's coming my way and I don't really want to feel it or attach myself too much. And over the years, I'm trying to fix that and retie the emotion, which is much more for me, emunah bitachon.
I hear you. It's interesting. Like you're really in like the grains of sand on some level, which is good. Like sometimes you see me doing like a billion different things and like it's too much on some level, right?
How do you drive 3 emails, a voice note, and have a critical eye towards the plant over there? It's like so many things at once and pay
Because
attention to me.
I'm not really in the grains of things. But that comes with like that also comes with inability to like plug in at critical times because let's say the connecting pieces that attach me to like things around me are much like wider. Like imagine like trying to attach like a Duplo Lego to like one of those little Legos and the needs of the many like including you and the family and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm
Sometimes
like
I'm
that
too
too
small.
sometimes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
catch myself. I am ordering things for next Shabbos where I'm in Florida, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's Thursday for this Shabbos. Why am I not enjoying the view? This morning I did like a 9 minute meditation, and the project was he made us open our eyes. It was on my app, right? Open your eyes and look at all the things you need to fix in this room. And all of a sudden, I was outside and I saw the plants, and this has to be trimmed. And then he made you drop it all. And now look around and see what needs to be improved at this moment. And at the end of the meditation, you realize nothing. Nothing has to be
right.
changed right now.
Or what can we be thankful for in the moment? And there are so many different um like ways to deal with everything in I think as we grow up and as we get old and then die, there's those things need to change. I mean, there are some things that stay the same, right? Let's just say belief in God.
Even that, the way you believe your Amuna does change, I think, over the years.
Well, if let's say God forbid someone's imminently going to die and they don't believe that they're going to like they're like minutes away from dying, they're not so sure. It becomes less believable to them practically that they're going to live to see Mashiach, right? So that becomes like this fundamental thing that as like children and middle-aged people we're
Wow.
like, yeah. So
Can I say the story of on September 11th, those towers went down and I went to call my grandmother and she had like, the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia.
Mhm.
And I called her. So I said, Bobby, don't worry, Mashiach is coming. And she dropped the phone and she picked it up. She goes, where is he? Where? And I was like, no, I don't mean like,
uh,
I mean
that-
theoretically. So that's someone who, even in their dementia and Alzheimer's, was waiting till the absolute
right.
end, But yeah, I mentioned this to someone. I said the belief in Mashiach, like I found myself afraid to believe because I have such a fear of disappointment in the rest of my life. I'm always afraid of people or life disappointing me, so I'm afraid to put too much emotion into something. On the other hand, there's a beauty in taking that risk and risking the disappointment and living a life that's a bit richer.
We have to make this funnier though. I feel like
I know,
okay, and like it's not like I can't be funny.
I know. So heavy. Okay, guys,
Why?
we're switching it up.
Why?
Maybe you. Okay. Well, I'm gonna introduce a topic. See if you can make it funny.
But you hear what I'm saying though?
So you
Like
came in with a heaviness.
no, I have to come in because I just have to. How do I mix it? Like when you watch Conan, he's never doing this.
You're not all Conan.
No, but what about but Conan? People like watching. You get way more views.
I need more views, guys. I need more views.
That's fine. I'll be funny.
Okay. I have figured out how to create a microclimate in my house. Now let me explain. No, I've created a life. Technically, I never have to leave my house.
Okay.
All right.
Now, guys, I created my own microclimate in my life. Go.
Here we go. So technically, I don't know why I'm yelling. I don't know that if I wouldn't force myself, I'm not sure I have to leave my house ever. I can invite friends for coffee to my house. I like my coffee in my house. I like your coffee. I like my food better than restaurant food. I have a backyard. Thank God I have a roof with a porch. Okay, that's sunlight. I have a yoga mat. That's working out. I have weights. That's working out. I have FaceTime. That's my social life. I have you and the kids. I have Netflix. I have Torah. I have YouTube. I have when I leave the house, it's because I think that it's a healthy thing to do because I'm afraid of turning into some of my ancestors who don't leave their houses or the proclivity to not leave. But like
Okay.
doing errands, I find that it's healthy. I do love a drive with music on.
So you're not a city dweller, let's just say.
I'm not a city
You're
dweller.
like, in other words, you're saying that you're like a country. What you're saying is that even though you live in a city, it doesn't make a difference where you would live. You'd still be what?
Am I a shut-in?
You're not a
Scared. I have comfortable pajamas. I could keep going. Um,
But I'm saying you have right. It says
I have this studio in my house. I could do my work
take
from.
away
Okay, let me let me
social needs.
let me rephrase. I actually love traveling. I don't love traveling where I live. I like to travel.
You like going to other
I
places.
like
You
going
should,
other places,
yeah.
and I really love being home. Those two things. The in between is not my jam. I'm saying that it
You
is.
say that, but they're like you. We were just in Yerushalayim yesterday. We loved it. You
Yeah,
loved
but
Tel
when's the
Aviv.
last time I was in Yerushalayim?
Yerushalayim's far for us. It's an hour and a half. It's too far.
I have really or we have or Hashem has helped us to create a life where I can be home and just,
The question is, can you help other people realize that they have those lives around them?
some people have the need to
And
be
some
out
of
and
them,
about and some people don't. And I want to embrace who I am. I'm just afraid of turning into a pajama lady.
I'm a lady.
You know, like
That
someone,
lady?
huh? Not a cat lady. That's not happening. But someone who, I don't really want
Yeah, this is literally just a conversation between you and me, Est. You realize that?
so in your head, what is a podcast? Is it hard and heavy hitting
No,
truths?
I don't know actually.
You don't know. You told me I got funnier.
You have gotten
I think
funnier.
that's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Can't help you with that.
I mean,
You were not nearly as funny 5 years ago, even. In
5 years
5 years,
ago is so soon ago.
you're way funnier now. What am I supposed to tell you?
Ugh, feel bad for my past self. I didn't know
Hold on.
that I was so like
You're saying
stoic.
possibly not. Possibly you were.
No, I think
You keep
that
saying you were thinking it, but didn't say
the
it.
whole time I had funny narratives. If you watch my wedding video, you'll see me cracking you up under the chuppah the entire time.
You always say that one story.
Yeah, because that's the furthest back that I can remember cracking you up. That's a long time
I'm not
ago.
saying you didn't crack me up. You crack me up way more now. What's wrong with that?
No, you said you weren't funny.
Are you becoming a better cook? Or
Yeah.
you've always been an amazing cook?
No, no, that I would say I'm becoming
Are
better.
you becoming better at yoga slowly?
No, no.
If you
There
want
were
to, could
times.
you?
Yeah, but
The point is that you're funnier now.
no, you didn't say that.
You're
You said
better at
you
being
weren't
funny.
funny. You didn't say you're
No, I
funnier
did that.
now.
I say you've become way funnier. I never said you were not funny then.
I was always funny. I
Why don't
put a
you ask
high.
your friends? Just have an honest. Here, like go do that right now.
Okay,
Say, Tina, are you up on WhatsApp?
hold on.
Call her.
I will call her.
Call Tina.
Guys, Sina is my best friend from, well, technically from ninth grade,
Be
but I
honest.
knew her when I was
Be
4.
honest. Be honest? Am I one of the top 10 funny people that you know?
Good morning, Tina. I'm with Yoshua on our podcast, and I'm phoning a friend. So, okay. Okay. So Yeshua's been saying that I got much funnier over the years. And I argue, I think I was always funny. And he said, call Tina and ask her for real. Was I funny in high school? Be honest. You don't have to say yes.
I think you were extremely funny. I happen to need funny in my life and someone who could keep up with my humor, let's say.
And did I manage to keep up with your wit and humor?
You surpassed.
I cracked you guys up in school. Leave me alone, Yeshua. No.
It's this really dry, sarcastic humor that if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
He just didn't get it. He just didn't get it.
I've learned to get when you were. That's what's happening.
Really, like a micro trend. Like we had this micro humor. Like it was very specific to our environment.
It's very niche.
Situational. Yeah, super niche.
It was super niche. And my argument is I think that I always had the funny narrative, like the stock tape going through my brain. And as life goes on, I just let it all hang out a bit more, for better or for worse.
laughed a lot.
We were laughing all the time.
Give me the funny bun either, but I know I'm hilarious.
You are. What's with our men? All right, we are. All right, mwah. Love you. I'm gonna speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you for answering. Told you.
Okay, so then I have not appreciated you.
Feel very underappreciated, but I do think I'm more
No,
vocal, and I do think as life goes on, I'm a bit more confident, and with confidence
How about
comes
this? Over
that.
the years, I've learned that I've had various different needs over my life, and one of the needs that I have is to appreciate your humor. And I've just
Is it that hard?
no. In other words, obviously it's a two-way street. So you've been being funny the whole time,
No,
hilarious, and I just haven't needed it. I've needed love. I needed support.
hilarious.
I've needed everything else.
Right, I
Also,
gave you what you needed.
I can't help it if you just refuse to take a compliment.
That's a weird compliment. It's like anyone ever said that to you?
Funnier.
Whoa, you look so good in that picture. I'm always insulted by that. I think
Yeah.
what you've said before is you were so busy raising children and trying to do that you were less yourself because you were sort of in that mode. And now as the kids get older, might have more wiggle room to just again. When I say let it all hang out, you still have to be careful because it's too soon to be eccentric. I'm not there yet. Like chronologically, I have to give myself some time. I have a puppy, you guys. That was a big step for me. And
Sure. I think we're we're a vibe
we're a vibe.
for ourselves. Like we're our own vibe for ourselves.
Yeah,
That's your microclimate.
there you go. I love the world
I
around me.
still maintain the fact that you've gotten funnier. I can't prove it because you insist that it's not. In other words, you refuse to say that you've evolved and gotten better at something. If someone told me that I got better at funnier now, I'd be like, thank you. Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't. If I was basically like, wow, you dress better now, you'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't dress well then? You'd get like, ugh.
Maybe I've just gotten to know you better. Let's just say that.
I got to know
You've
myself
done.
better. I think I got to know myself
Also, you
better.
did get funnier.
Yeah.
What? So Tina lied.
Like, she just said I was always funny. I was always funny.
Okay, but you
But
just
now funnier. Funnier.
What's wrong with you?
I'm just like trying to like protect myself.
From what? From a compliment?
It's a weird compliment.
When you think you were born perfect, you were born in
I
sin.
think I was born
Joking.
perfect.
Joking,
Life got to me
joking.
and I'm getting back. Not
Life
perfect.
didn't get to you, sweetie.
Life didn't get to me.
It got to you, but you were always great. Trust me. You don't trust me? I have a friend of mine. He lives in Flatbush. He actually reached out to me today because he's in town. And it's not the friend who we met yesterday who lives in Flatbush. And he sent me this thing from Alan Watts. And I listened to it in my office above the hummus place on Achuza in the old days. And I was affected by it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
No way.
Yeah.
Alan Watts. And then I just Wikipedia him and he just was a total disaster in his life on some level. It's so
let me
sad.
ask you,
I don't know. Is it sad though? He wouldn't think so. He'd be like, Wu Wei.
one second. That's the difference, though. When you open up Mesilat Yesharim, you know the Ramchal had a good life. When you open up Shemar Salosha, you know the Chavetz Chaim was a beautiful husband.
Honestly, I'm going to be humble enough to say that I don't know because I recently researched one of the great Spanish poems that all these Piyutim. I'm not going to say who.
No, no, I'm sorry. Paitan is different than what I'm talking about. 1 second. No, it's different.
Beautiful poetry.
It's different. That's like a beautiful musician. It's different. I'm describing the Chavetz Chaim who's telling you how to live. Alan Watts is telling you how to live. He's not making music. And when someone who's telling you how to live is a wonderful husband and parent and grandparent and teacher who didn't, I don't know, abuse alcohol, you feel more comfortable taking it all in. This is not me judging Alan Watts. I can get chizuk from there, but it's important. It's important to keep it all in context. We have a Masorah that's so precious and valuable that I really do take stuff from all over the place.
So you hold Albert Einstein's womanizing against him?
No, but he's not my Musar leader. He's for science and physics. It's different. I'm talking about rules for life. That's it. That's it.
You're right. Or he didn't abuse alcohol. You're right.
He again,
every moment. He died at 38 years old, and he was so prolific in his writings. I can't.
There's an extreme too. I know people who have deep suspicion when I bring things that aren't from the Masorah as like, oh, I just heard something beautiful. And I'm like, wait, can't we accept anything? On the other hand, to drink it wholeheartedly when you have the Gedolim that we have, it's like we have so many things.
He's so good. Some of the stuff, it's not his stuff, right? He was just repeating
Taoist, Buddhist,
brilliant stuff,
Greek philosophy
stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, fine. I'm with you.
100%.
I just wish I could just go over to him and help him so that if there was some hole in his life that he was filling with alcohol, I could fill it with something else.
Mm. I don't hope that because again, I go the bird's eye view, which is like
Right.
Hashem has this plan, and
Yeah.
whatever the soul is doing, whatever it's supposed to be doing here, you know.
Oh yeah. That's a pretty funny story. I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna indict somebody. Not in a Lashon Hara way, just like may make him lose his medical license. That was this kind of hilarious thing that happened in New York. I find that funny. You don't know what I'm talking about, world.
You know what's so weird?
Uh,
I listen to a lot of podcasts that are also not Jewish, and they have this like liberty to be like, um, my dad's a narcissist. I cut him out of my life. And I'm like, what? How could we ever say such a thing in public? We're like from people, we have these like restrictions where we can't be completely honest because they're al
why would
halachot.
why would that person cut out of the life? Like
No, don't miss the point. I'm saying, let's just say someone, whatever. That's a whole other story. Keep it of aim. We'd have totally different metrics to make those decisions. But let's just say
well,
it was
listen,
valid.
everyone
Let's
has
just
everything.
say,
Everyone is so diagnosed, and it's so like
no, but let's just say this person's valid. Let's just say this person is an abuser, whatever, right? Could you come on a podcast where your listeners might know this parent and just sort of put them on blast? I couldn't. And
oh,
I realized that if you
it's
have
a
like
bad
a,
thing.
what?
It's a bad thing, but it makes it interesting because that's the tea.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have a podcast that's all about gossip, whether it's celebrity gossip or not, it's way more compelling. On the other hand, that's not where we're running here, you
So,
guys.
I want to be a net positive contributor to your world, and like everyone that comes on is coming on like with something to say. I don't have anything to say. Like,
And you're saying your message is you want to make me great again. So
no,
make me
like
great.
the stuff that like I'm busy with all day. Like you could put me like on a real estate podcast, right? And I could discuss it. Like stuff like that. Stuff that I know. What do I know?
We could do a home grows in Israel and we could turn this into a real estate podcast.
No, but really, really.
What do you know? Yeah, I just had a conversation with my husband. Um, and lastly, if I had to sort of pull it all together
Yeah, let's
and
talk about your trip to America. I wish you a really safe
oh my God,
travel.
you
You're bringing
changed
the
my trip.
kids.
Hold on. Let me just, guys, I
Yeah.
was about to land on Sunday and take off on Wednesday. That's a 12-hour flight. Put my kids into camp. In other words, do the shopping in like less than 2 days, name tags.
Old Navy for a day, then get them on a bus and go home. That's what
Yeah, and get them on the bus, stress get to the airport. If the bus is for camp or late, I'm in trouble. And I
no
was
hanging out
just,
with your family, nothing,
yeah, I was kind of, ugh.
friends.
And then you said, and my sister said, but you said, go down to Florida to be with your mom. And I was like, shouldn't I do that at the end of the summer? Should I? Shouldn't I? It's hot, whatever. And then in the span of 20 minutes,
While I was driving.
yeah, we found hotel flights. It just all, Baruch Hashem, it all worked out. And now I feel much more at peace with going. I'm more anxious about leaving you guys though, because it's a longer time. I want to miss you,
Yeah,
my
it's really
kids,
nice that you're doing
my
that.
puppy. But on the other hand, I know
You
that that
just
was,
mentioned that it's your actual puppy, not one of your kids. You don't call your kids puppies, right?
no, of
They
course
know
not.
about your puppy?
Yeah, I actually told my kids when we got the puppy, I'm like, you guys, if I'm being affectionate with her, stop me if you feel like it's for you guys. You guys are my kids. Like, what? Of course. But I have to make that clear. I don't want to become that
You really
person.
think
Like when people treat their pets as their children, I respect it, but that's not the path I'm
but she's
going
so
on.
cute though. Baby
She's so
Layla.
cute. She's so cute.
She bites a lot though. Jeez.
Puppy, right? Anyway, you changed my whole
Oh,
vacation. You're really good
listen,
at it. And
that
then you,
wasn't a vacation before. Now it's gonna be
yeah.
very slightly a
And then I
vacation.
said, I want to be so hot. What about headwear? And you told me get this specific kind of cap. And you just sort of really helped me with putting things in perspective.
You were
And
already looking at baseball caps. That's what I don't understand what you're
no,
saying.
I wasn't. No, I'm
Right.
just trying to say, take the compliment.
Oh, okay. No, I was. I just don't remember that I
You're
said that.
helping me very much create a very pleasant week versus a very rushed, unpleasant one. I don't even know if you do this for yourself, but you do it for me a lot. So I want to thank you for that.
Uh, I don't do it for myself naturally. But maybe I'll get better at it.
Maybe I can help you do it for you and you help me do it for
I
me.
think like no, I think like it's one of those things that's like I'm good at that stuff, so I have to like just apply it on myself a bit.
Yeah, you are good at that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, my love, Yoshua, thanks for sitting with me today. Midday, taking the time out to be open and chill and just figure it out with me. And I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on the show, and I would really suggest that everybody start the practice of open up Sefer Shmuel, Shmuel Aleph, and you can use the app called Safaria, which has the Navi text itself and every different kind of translation. Rav Steinsaltz has an amazing one, and you can also use the Pashup Shot one. And get blown away by our history and by the lessons and by the personalities. It is the best.
I hear that, and thanks for sharing that. And I also encourage you guys, if you try that and it didn't do it for you, no guilt. Find the Torah that speaks to you, because each person does have a specific Torah that uplifts them. Respect that and listen to your intuition, you guys.
And also, if you could just learn Shmuel.
And also, let me have the last word. Thank you guys for listening. You let me have the last word. All right, bye, guys. Thanks.